How's the real estate market doing in Oshawa for the past 2 years?
Jackie, I'm so happy. I'm glad you asked me that question because that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Real estate, well, if I can go back a few years, 2012, the real estate market in Oshawa, the average price was $258,000. It's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
At the end of 2016, just a few months ago, it was at $444,000, a major increase. That's not the big thing. The big thing is how it's changed from the end of last year to now. In 2017, the average price has gone from $444,000 last year to $585,000 in Oshawa, just in a few months' time.
That's a really big
It's
jump.
incredible. It's incredible.
你而家收睇嘅係加拿大財經一號電視台。
嘉國地產發展趨勢，近期樓市最新動態，地產行業權威發布，眾多專家分析點評，盡在置業嘉國。
Hello everyone, welcome to Real Estate Canada. About 30 minutes away from downtown Toronto, there's a beautiful city called Oshawa. It is also known as Canada's Model City. So in today's Wonder TO, we have invited Stephen Young to come to our studio to introduce the city of Oshawa. Hello, Stephen.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
Hi, thank you for coming today.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's your first time joining us.
Yes, yeah.
So please give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Oh, okay, great. Well, my name is Stephen Young, and I'm a real estate agent selling residential real estate in Oshawa, my city I've been born and raised. I work for the Keller Williams Energy Corporation here in Oshawa, and I'm here to help out in any way I can.
That's good.
Yeah, great.
So today we're here to talk about the city of Oshawa. So a lot of people, for those people who haven't been to Oshawa, could you give us like a short summary about how the city?
Absolutely. Oshawa is a city about 30 minutes east of Toronto, and a population of about 160,000, and the city's changed quite a bit. You know, back when I was a kid, I won't tell you when that was, it was more of a blue-collar town, you know, very industry-oriented. General Motors was a big company in Oshawa, and it's still there, and it's still a mainstay, but the city's changing with a university type of mentality. And so a lot of younger people and a lot of culturally different people are coming into the city as well too. It's changing quite a bit.
Now we have a brief idea about the city of Oshawa. Like, what are you gonna say if, like, 3 advantage of the city?
3?
Yeah, top 3.
Well, the first one I would say would be transportation. The 407 has just come through Oshawa, and eventually it'll be going all the way to the 35, Highway 35, and 115. But that makes Oshawa more accessible to the city at the core.
Yeah, even take like 401, it's not that too far.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You know, and with GO Transit, Oshawa is a very accessible city to the core of Toronto. So that's one. One something you might not know is employment. Last year, BMO, the Bank of Montreal, did a study and had Oshawa as the #1 city for employment in all of Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of jobs in Oshawa. So that also, not only can you come to Oshawa via different ways of transportation, but there's also jobs waiting for you. But the third is probably the #1 spot, and that is opportunity. The prices in Oshawa are unbelievably low compared to the rest of the GTA.
You mean the house, right?
Yeah, the real estate
market.
prices are incredibly low compared to the rest. You know, say in Markham or in Richmond Hill. So there's a lot of other reasons, but those are the top 3.
That's great picks.
Oh, thank you.
We're talking about new immigrants. A lot of people moving to Ontario or Canada is because of the education reputation here is very good.
Yes.
So how's the education reputation in Oshawa?
Very good question. Very good question. Oshawa is actually increasing very rapidly in many cities, I mean, many schools in the city. Dr. S.J. Phillips is a school that's in the top 5% of all across Ontario. And it's a public school for ages, I believe, kindergarten through grade 8. Maxwell Heights in North Oshawa is also amongst the top. You know, very, very good schools. And but most importantly is the university aspect. The U of IT is predominantly making Oshawa a big known name in the GTA. The city and that school alone has been growing ever since it opened up many years ago. And so there's a school in Whitby, which I know is off, which is a private school, the Trafalgar School for Girls, which has been around since 1874. And that's a private school, and it only has about 150 students in it, all girls, but it's been around and it's been a highly recommended school in our area for a long time.
So a lot of good choices.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay,
how's the real estate market doing in Oshawa for the past 2 years?
Jackie, I'm so happy. I'm glad you asked me that question because that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Real estate, well, if I can go back a few years, 2012, the real estate market in Oshawa, the average price was $258,000. It's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
At the end of 2016, just a few months ago, it was at $444,000. A major increase. That's not the big thing. The big thing is how it's changed from the end of last year to now. In 2017, the average price has gone from $444,000 last year to $585,000 in Oshawa, just in a few months' time.
That's a really big
It's
jump.
incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, and yet it's still the cheapest in all of the GTA.
Yeah, compared to other
Yeah.
cities. Yeah. What's the biggest impact of that big jump? It's like people are moving a lot?
That's a very good question. Yeah, what's happened, I believe, and this is more of an opinion, is the people from Toronto, Richmond Hill, Markham, the prices here have gotten a lot higher than in Durham region.
That's right.
And so some are deciding, let's liquidate those assets and let's move east into Oshawa. Or some are keeping those properties, borrowing equity against themselves, and then buying out in Oshawa. And some are buying 1 or 2 or 3 homes. Lots of investors, coming out to our area.
So now we realize there's a lot of good things about the city of
Oh,
Oshawa.
yeah. Oh, yes,
now
absolutely.
we're going to compare the housing market of Oshawa to
Yeah.
other GTA cities.
Okay,
So-
yeah. Well, how I explain to my clients and my customers back home in Oshawa is if you take the CN Tower in Toronto and you go 60 kilometers west, you're going to be in Burlington. And in Burlington, the average price in March of this year was $871,000. It's a lot of
That's-
money.
yeah.
If you take the CN Tower and you go 60 kilometers north, you'll find yourself in Newmarket.
Newmarket.
In Newmarket, the market's crazy. It's over $1 million. In fact, I believe in March it was $1,030,000 as the average price in
That's
Newmarket.
right.
Now, if you take 60 kilometers east of the CN Tower, you're going to end up in Oshawa. And in Oshawa, the average price in March of this year was $603,000. So, if you want to be, 40 minutes away from the core of downtown Toronto, you can go west and pay $870,000. You can go north and pay $1,030,000, or you can come to Oshawa and pay $600,000.
So Oshawa is the most potential city that
And it
people
consistently
could buy.
has in the past as well. I mean, month after month, year after year, Oshawa is still a bargain. It's starting to catch up, and the people in Oshawa would probably argue with me, but when people are from Toronto are comparing those, you'll see that Oshawa is the bargain that it really still is, and it will be for a while. Yeah.
So you just mentioned that Oshawa got a lot of great job opportunities,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I bet a lot of people want to move to Oshawa, but still the population density there is kind of lower than other
It
cities,
is.
right?
It is. I was just driving into your studios and here in Markham, and it's such a different city than say Oshawa is. Oshawa, we don't have a lot of condominiums, and we have very few high rises. If you're looking to a single family dwelling, you want some space, you want some elbow room, Oshawa is a place to be for that. We probably could use a few, but we do have very, very few high density areas, condominiums in Oshawa.
That's a change of lifestyles if you want to move
is.
from the crowded city to a really.
We find that's what's happening in Oshawa. A lot of people are coming from the city. The rat race is over for them. They want to come out where they have some land, a grass, neighbors, where they can actually talk to. But high density is not something that's predominant in the Oshawa market.
How do you explain to them like different areas, different communities around the cities?
The best way to explain that is geographically.
Okay.
Oshawa, like most cities, has segments. The city of Oshawa was built many years ago, and it started near Lake Ontario. So that's the established area. And then you, of course, just north of there is our downtown. But the north part is the only place where really Oshawa can expand. And so we call that Poshawa, as in posh. It's fancier.
That sounds
it's,
fancy.
It is fancy, absolutely it is. And so those houses are newer, and they are a standard of living that's a little different and more modern to us. So as you go north towards the Highway 407, you're going to find homes are bigger and they're fancier and they're more modern. And so that area is essentially the biggest room of
That's
growth.
a new area, right?
It's newer, yeah, much newer. And all that area now is essentially being bought up in new builds and new possibilities. There are people I've seen stay overnight in their cars at a new development just to get a property, be first in line in Oshawa. And it's very, very common.
What about the south part? Where
The south part has many parks, and it's very close to Lake Ontario. I think it's a secret. South Oshawa had a bit of a stigma at times because it's an older established area. However, it's also close to Lake Ontario, Lakeview Park, and it's incredible. There's a lot of green space down there. And Oshawa is the only city I know of that you don't pay a premium to be near Lake Ontario. Whether it be in Whitby or in Toronto, you pay a lot more money.
Yeah.
Being close to the lake. In Oshawa, there's no premium.
That's a good bargain.
Yeah, call me. I'll set you up. Absolutely. Yeah, there's some great bargains down in South Oshawa for sure. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure,
give
Jackie.
us
Thank you.
a lot of information about the city of Oshawa.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.